rumors are circulating that the latest installment of Tomb Raider is currently in development. How I would believe it, I mean, we didn't get our last game since 2018. Main installment wise, we have gotten a lot of collaborations that have been kind of all over the place and not exactly representative of an accurate Tomb Raider. But we did get the remasters, which were absolutely fantastic, well received and purchased, but these were coming from another studio, not Crystal Dynamics. So what does development hell mean? What does the future of Tomb Raider look like right now? It could go a number of different ways, but some of those ways could be very bad. So let's go ahead and dive into this video. I have a lot of tweets from Aya here because just an absolutely brilliant community member. Aya says Tomb Raider needs to be handled like the Yakuza series because Crystal's output is ridiculous. 6 games in 20 years. If you don't know the history of Tomb Raider 1 through 6, which 6 being Angel of Darkness, were developed by Core Design. Crystal Dynamics got a hold of the franchise with Tomb Raider Legend onward. Now, I know a lot of people like Tomb Raider Legend, Anniversary, and Underworld. I think it's severely, massively overrated. If you are actually a fan of the classic games, you will understand why I say this. I know a lot of people want to see those remastered next because Angel of Darkness, the Angel of Darkness trilogy, 4 through 6 trilogy, I should say, is done. They want to keep it up in order. But here's the problem with that. Okay, first of all, if you're going to go from playing the classics 1 through 6, especially 1 through 5 or 1 through 4 specifically, you're going to see a very, the classic formula. Lots of exploration, lots of puzzles, lots of don't hold your hand, which 5's similar, but it's just a smaller scale game and it is a bit more linear. 6, something completely different. I can talk about that maybe if I have time at the end of the video, but just saying, so people think, oh, next, let's go with Legend. But if you go from playing these classics and then you play Legend, then you're going to see what I've been trying to tell people for years and years and years and years. Tomb Raider Legend, the Legend trilogy, has aesthetics for days, looks great visually in terms of the art style and Lara Croft's design and so on and so forth. But let's not forget gameplay, which is the most important part of a video game, in which the Legend trilogy is what I call play school Tomb Raider, because it was made for vegetables to be able to play. Anybody can get through Tomb Raider Legend, especially without having to use a singular brain cell. And we even had Eric Lindstrom, who was one of the lead developers on the Legend trilogy, who, after being laid off, outright answered the community questions when pressed about why have the games been watered down. And the answer was, well, we just don't think that modern gamers, it was watered down for the modern audience. We just don't think modern gamers like challenging games, and I don't think that they'll ever get that way again. That's what he said. So they purposefully watered down the gameplay of the Legend trilogy. And if you go from the classic remasters and then you jump into a Legend trilogy, you're going to see that. And this is the reason why I don't think the Legend trilogy can really succeed all that much or put Tomb Raider in a good direction, because it doesn't have the substance that especially 1 through 4 have in terms of excellent gameplay, dynamic gameplay with the traversal, with the puzzles, with the exploration. It doesn't hold your hand, and it is a game of games of substance. Whereas the Legend trilogy, you can be a vegetable and play it. It's like, but it looks pretty. So not only that, but the Legend trilogy also completely changed Lara Croft's backstory, because Crystal Dynamics got a hold of it and they wanted to make it more Hollywood-esque instead of what the classic story was. Classic Tomb Raider had Lara Croft, who was disowned by her parents because she chose a life of adventure. She didn't move forward with an arranged marriage. She essentially gave up her aristocratic lifestyle to pursue a life of adventure. She was very anti-hero adjacent in the fact that she was fueled entirely by selfish motivation of the thrill and adventure of it all. And that's what fueled her to do what she did. So then take the Hollywood movie, which kind of threw a wrench in that a little bit, but still gave us a classic Lara in personality with Angelina Jolie. But then you got Crystal Dynamics, which took inspiration from the movie and their own stuff, and they started changing the story where instead of Lara Croft being disowned, it's all about her dead parents now. It's all about, oh, now she's following in the footsteps of her father, who was an archaeologist. Meanwhile, in classic lore, that was no such thing. He was not an archaeologist. Her parents were aristocrats who had a life set up for her, and she chose to do her own thing instead. That was one thing that made her so cool, was she was just a rebel. And she wasn't just some hero. Like, yeah, sometimes she would save the world in her efforts, right? But usually she caused her own problems with it. And we see that with, even though we do see that with, like, let's think of Shadow of the Tomb Raider, for example. The big difference here was if you take like Tomb Raider The Last Revelation, where she had to clean up her mess or the world was gonna like perish. She's like, oh, here we go again, right? She wasn't this timid, like, oh my goodness, I caused this mess, I have to fix it. Oh no, this is all my fault. People are gonna hate me. And it's just a complete night and day difference, because Crystal Dynamics wanted to turn Lara Croft into more of a hero, goody two shoes. That's why they also try to make it where she's not an archaeologist anymore. Where she's not a Tomb Raider anymore, I should say. She's not a Tomb Raider. She doesn't steal things. She respects these ancient cultures and she gives the artifacts back to their rightful owners, but then sometimes they will gift her artifacts. Can't have her being an actual grave robber, right? So that was what was so fun about classic Lara Croft, was she did whatever she wanted. She wasn't seen as some like goody two shoes character. This wasn't a character that people were supposed to emulate in real life. She was just fun. It was just fun going on adventures, blowing things up, stealing artifacts, things like that, right? As this gorgeous bombshell of a character who did whatever she wanted because she wanted, right? So if you go with the Legend trilogy and you remaster those, I guess on a small scale budget, whatever, people will buy it. They can probably make some money on it. But if they move forward from there, I don't think that the Legend remasters need to happen at all, because already people have been reminded of who classic Lara is with the classic remasters. Once we get a Legend trilogy remaster, we're not going to have classic Lara in the spotlight anymore. It's this different Lara. And then what are they going to do after that? Like, then what, right? I mean, it can happen, but they need to, if they do that, they need to go back after. They need to go back and do some like mainline Tomb Raider stuff, right? So we have, the community this is what Crystal Dynamics has essentially done with Tomb Raider, is they split the community. They could not continue a cohesive Tomb Raider experience. Instead, they changed it entirely. They changed Lara Croft. They changed her motivations. And then they did it again with the reboot, right? So what you've got is a split in the community. You've got people who actually want to see the real Lara Croft come back. Then you got people who only like the new stuff. And so, yeah, there's a divide in the community as a result. Lara Croft now has an identity crisis because they've changed her too drastically in every way. Then the whole fundamentals of Tomb Raider, now they don't even want Tomb Raider to be Tomb Raider anymore. They don't want Lara Croft to be a Tomb Raider. They want her to be a savior to these people, an artifact restorer, giving them back to their rightful owners. It's just a mess. Now, here we have another tweet from Aya who says, with only Legend, Anniversary, and Underworld left to remaster, I think it's time to start thinking about what happens after. And I firmly believe that Saber are the developers of the remasters. People think it's Aspyr, but that's because that's what they write on everything. Crystal Dynamics did not make the remasters. It was Saber who developed them and Aspyr who published them. I firmly believe that Saber should develop a new game in the classic timeline on Unreal Engine 5. If fans are making fan games on there as we speak, I don't see why a studio can't. And then tagging Embracer Group, which I want to like this because I agree. I would honestly be happy even if they just use the old engine, right? The remaster engine. But I know a lot of people want to see it like evolve and progress past that. So hey, Unreal Engine 5, classic Tomb Raider, give us actual classic Tomb Raider, right? Continue the story. I think the best thing they could possibly do, again, maybe they will do the Legend Anniversary Underworld remasters. If so, just get it done, get it out of the way, then backtrack and go to the classic direction, right? Now, the mainline next Tomb Raider game is supposedly in development hell right now. That's what a lot of the fans are saying, and I believe them because a lot of these people, they got their sources. There are people on the development team who are leaking things to people. I'm not one of those, so can't come after me. No developers have told me anything, but I do believe a lot of these rumors that are circulating within the community. Now, the reason why it's in such development hell is because a lot of the rumors that came out about what the story was going to be about, the whole lesbian love interest and Lara Croft retiring so that some Indian girl can be a Tomb Raider next, things like that sounded like an absolute nightmare, which I have made videos about, were not well received. We see the remasters that have come out that have been monumentally successful. People want classic Lara, as we've been trying to say. And so now they're kind of stuck. Like, what do they do from here? They want to try to do this unification, but how do you unify something so different? You can't unify 3 completely different Lara Crofts and 3 completely different games. Okay, you've got your classic Tomb Raider formula. Angel of Darkness tried to evolve from that, but to me, it just was in the wrong direction. I know I got a lot of love for Angel of Darkness, but Tomb Raider did need to go back to its roots, and it still does. Angel of Darkness was a fun detour made for diehard fans. I don't think it's something that most people otherwise are really going to get a lot out of. The Angel of Darkness fans don't like it when I say that, but it's true. Let's be for real. We really need to get back to that classic formula of Lara Croft being a Tomb Raider because she wants to be a rebel, an anti-hero. Give us adventures that are centered around actual adventure. Give us some globetrotting. Give us some big areas to explore. Give us some acrobatics and platforming that is actually dynamic and classic style instead of these auto grabs and this, that, and the other, where you actually have to plan and calculate what you're going to do in your maneuvers, where you have to use your brain. Puzzle solving. Give us good puzzles, not just these physics-based easy things, right? So that's what we really need to see with the franchise. Go back in the classic direction. Give us a classic Lara Croft. And so now, this is the unification attempt, which is just so cringe. I would rather them just continue the reboot stuff than try to unify it, because it doesn't work. Do the reboot stuff. I still don't plan on playing any more reboot continuation, but just do it instead of disrespecting classic Lara Croft with whatever this is. So there is going to be a Lara Croft skin, a new Lara Croft skin in Fortnite, allegedly, based off of some leaker. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't even know if it's going to give us any indication of anything. I don't know. But this is what I do know. The classics have sold well. Now, they're talking about 4 through. This 4 through 6 is doing not bad. It's not doing as well as 1 through 3. And rightfully so, 1 through 3 was better. 4, debatably. 4 is up there with 1 through 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, the best Tomb Raider games of all time. But then you've got 5 and 6, which 5, again, still good, but it was a bit more linear and smaller and and then of course with the story and stuff, it was, I can't really go into details without giving spoilers and stuff for those who haven't played it, so don't worry about it. But it just was kind of a filler. Let's just say Tomb Raider 5 is a filler game. It's still good, but it's a filler game as a whole. And then you've got Tomb Raider 6, Angel of Darkness, which has its own plethora of issues. Now, we had a lot of hope that with them fixing a lot of the things that it would be a lot better. And they did fix a lot of things, and it was better. They unfortunately could have fixed a lot more, and that's what people were hoping for. But I think even if they completely rebuilt this game from the ground up, it's just not going to work. It's not going to. Most people aren't going to like it. It's for the enthusiast. That's it. It's for the enthusiast. Don't. As great as it would be to get the trilogy that was supposed to happen for Angel of Darkness, for enthusiasts, it's not going to be good in general. People want Tomb Raider. They want adventure. They don't want as much of a. This is a lot more dramatic. This is a lot more, Lara Croft's on the run for being framed for murder. And it's not so much of an adventure anymore. She's not getting a thrill out of this. She's kind of beaten down and all this stuff. It's just not classic Tomb Raider. It's not. So, while the public are excited for Tomb Raider, again, go ahead and take advantage of that. Now, some people did refund on Steam 4 through 6 because they played Angel of Darkness and it was like, oh shoot. Like I said, that's for the enthusiasts, not for just everybody, because especially if they start with Angel of Darkness, then yeah, people are sadly going to be refunding it. So yeah, we'll see where things go from here, but this is on one hand, we could have seen how this would have happened because this is just a repeat of what happened with the original Tomb Raider franchise. Oh, what do you know? The same thing happened again with the original Tomb Raider franchise. Things went downhill with that last trilogy of games. Sure enough, things are losing momentum with that last trilogy of games again, right? They think the next step is to remaster Legend, Anniversary, and Underworld, but those of us who lived it remember that the performance of Legend, Anniversary, and Underworld, despite what you'll see now from modern sales counts, were not good at the time. They did not reach expectations. They were released on every platform imaginable, but they didn't do well. Legend out of that trilogy was sold the best, the first one, but even so, it was not meeting expectations, and it didn't even sell that much more than Angel of Darkness. And then you look at Anniversary was a huge flop. Underworld flopped so bad that that's why they did the reboot. So it's like, if you're gonna repeat that, remaster the Legend trilogy, people are gonna play the first one and be like, oh, this is fun, look at the style. But then they're going to get through it and they're going to be like, oh, that was easy. There's not enough substance to want to keep playing that. So I just don't see Legend, Anniversary, and Underworld Remaster doing anything for the future of Tomb Raider at all. If anything, it's going to make it lose more momentum, like it did the first time. So then they're going to be in a tricky situation again. What do we do now? And it's like, we're just really in a position to where they need to bring classic Lara Croft back. Just continue onward. Wrap up, pretend like, okay, Angel of Darkness happened, whatever. We're going to pick up from there, and Lara Croft is going to be back to adventuring for sport again. Back for the thrill. She's going to go on this adventure that isn't centered around her personal life. She's going to go on this adventure that she is getting a thrill out of. She's going to go after this artifact. Somebody else is going to want it, and she's got to defeat them because she wants the artifact. It's really like, and then just give us some good gameplay. So that's where we're at. I mean, we've got, in terms of the mainline stuff, heck, they're also in a tricky situation. This is a pretty make it or break it time for Tomb Raider as a whole. And it's not looking that good. I'm going to be honest, it's not looking that good. I'm grateful we got the remasters so I can keep playing those. But otherwise, it's not looking good. Because whatever they do with the mainline stuff, I think they need to can it. But Amazon's funding that. I would say, Embracer, I would guess, would can it. But Amazon's funding it. They're also doing the Phoebe Waller-Bridge TV show on Amazon, which is going to be a nightmare. They have the Netflix garbage, woke trash, that already flopped, but they were signed for 2 seasons, so there's going to be another one that's going to embarrass the franchise even more. And then the next mainline game, whatever, they're stuck right now. Who knows what's going to happen with it, but it's not going to be good. So, yeah. Things are really kind of all over the place for Tomb Raider fans. Not the most promising situation to be in. What we need is something to really put Tomb Raider back on the map. We need something like an Unreal Engine 5, like Aya said, classic style Tomb Raider. Continue the franchise, the classic style, and get people excited about Tomb Raider again. I do think that he has a point with saying that they need to do Unreal Engine 5, because as much as I would still love the classic engine and stuff, and it would be low budget and all that, I think that for people to be genuinely excited about Tomb Raider again in terms of the mainstream, or to get those huge massive budget numbers, then they're going to want to see something tech wise pushed further. They're going to want to see something very impressive in that regard. So we'll see what happens. At least we got the classic remasters. No matter what, we still have those. But in terms of the future of Tomb Raider, not looking that great, but we'll see. We'll see. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. This is a long video, and I could talk even more, but here we are. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. As always, if you want me to read the Bible to you, you can check out my Bible channel at Bible Time with Melanie Mack. Thank you all again. I'll catch you next time. And in the meantime, go boom.